Thank you so much for coming. We appreciate the attendance. This is more than we've had typically, and we're really excited to welcome you all to the board meeting this evening. We would like to start by inviting everyone to stand and join us in the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. With that, we would turn the time over to Eric to introduce our student presentation.
All right, tonight it's my pleasure to introduce the cast of the upcoming Pointer Middle School musical, The Trials of Alice in Wonderland. Directed by Nicole Thompson and managed by student Barry Hernandez, this 29-member cast will perform the 60-minute family-friendly musical on May 13th, 14th, 20th, and 21st. Weekday performances begin at 7:30 and Saturday performances start at 2 p.m. Some of the feeder elementary schools will get to preview this production on May 17th and 19th. Tonight, the students will be performing a number entitled Off With Her Head. In the musical, Alice finds herself on trial but has no idea what she has done. Please join me in welcoming the cast of Pointer Middle School's musical, The Trials of Alice in Wonderland.
Too little, aha, she clearly said it. Everyone please write that down or else you might forget it.
Let's take the time to write it down exactly how she said it. Well, how could I be too big and too little at the same time? Too big, too little, now wait, we just don't get it. We took the time to write it down, we started to regret it.
It's a suspicious way of acting, or as we say in Latin, modus operandi.
A modus operandi is nothing short of dandy. Please pass around the candy. I'd like it with my tea.
Let's stop this controversy. The court will show you mercy. Or likewise by Sir Percy. Come sit upon my knee.
Don't forget to make a plea. Off with her head, off with her head. She is guilty. Off with her head.
You were saying?
So, I thought I should fall asleep from boredom. But then a white rabbit ran past who was most peculiarly dressed. Peculiarly? Well, peculiar than who was dressed at all. I mean, he's a rabbit. They don't usually have clothes. You never heard of a hair shirt? And then he started talking, saying he was late and some awful person was going to cut off his head if he didn't. Oh, Your Majesties, I have no idea what she's talking about. I was perfectly on time, early in fact, but walking briskly, no risky dawdle, when this strange girl began following me. I went down my burrow and she followed right behind. She was much too big, of course, but she just dug her way in and made a mess out of everything.
Too big!
Then I fell down the middle of the hole, and I tried to grab the sides, but I was too little.
Too little!
Too big, too little, we never will forget it. We took the time to write it down, we said it, and we read it. Enough! Let's see, it was quite a long fall.
Longer than 3 months.
No.
A perfectly ordinary fall that through September 21st through December 22nd.
Your fall sounds quite short. Just because it didn't last 3 months, it doesn't follow.
It does not follow.
they say in Latin,
Non sequitur.
It means it does not follow. The argument is hollow. You'll find it hard to swallow. I'd like a slice of bread.
That wasn't what I said.
Off with her head, off with her head. She is guilty. Off with her head.
Why is everyone speaking Latin?
Latin is exacto. In fact, it's ipso facto. Or is that ipsy-dipsy?
I think her lawyer's tipsy.
The lawyer couldn't be here. He's quite not compos mentis, which is to say completely mad, and I'm his new apprentice.
All lawyers are completely mad. Don't let them represent us.
I'd rather go to bed.
Off with her head, off with her head. She is guilty. Off with her head.
Why is she so cross with me?
It's a cross-examination, of course.
Who witnessed this alleged fall of yours?
I did, Your Majesties. I was minding my business when down she came in the middle of the room. And right away she tried to spring back up.
Spring after fall?
That's suspicious right there. But she was too little to get back up.
Too little.
There was nothing in the room but a table. Then I saw a little tiny door. But she was much too big to fit through it.
Too big!
So she got down and stuck her big head up to the little door in the window like she was going to swallow it whole.
Should we get a group shot? Maybe you guys can tighten up. Maybe give me the old off with her head. All right. Sorry, Alice. Okay. All right. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Oh. Okay, one more time. Hopefully my camera will cooperate. Okay. 1, 2, 3. Excellent. Makes my heart warm.
say that the usual outcome of the leaving of the large student performances in the house also usually empties. But we have some interesting topics for tonight, so let's move on with our agenda. We're getting very close. First of all, I would be looking for an approval of the agenda.
I'll make a motion that we approve the agenda as presented.
Second.
Motion is made by Glenn and seconded by Janine to approve the agenda. Any questions? Those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Next, we have audience time back to back with our next topics. So just for clarity, do we have any specific, Val, have we received any other audience time requests?
No, we haven't.
Okay.
Could you speak more into the mic?
Sorry, I will endeavor to do so.
It seems like someone was reading.
So, yeah, normally at this point in our agenda, we have a traditional audience time. We have plenty of people here to speak. They're here to speak. We're here to speak for our next agenda item, which we'll get to momentarily, especially if no one's here to speak on other non-agenda items. So, just looking to confirm that we have no requests for speaking on non-agenda topics. No papers have come on.
Let's save topic.
Okay, then we will conclude there is no request for general audience time, and so I will move on to the agenda. Okay, the next item on our agenda is an item that we've been planning to make sure that we gather community feedback from a topic that we know has a significant interest. And so as part of the plan for gathering input, we have allotted this set of time to extend for a period of up to 60 minutes for gathering community input at the board meeting on the topic of providing family planning services at our school-based health center. To start this off, I need to read a couple of items. One, to describe our general policy about topics spoken to at the school board meetings, and then I want to give some more framework around the discussion we're about about the topic. So first, I'll read the audience participation statement. Public participation in board meetings is governed by policy BDDH. Patrons may comment on specific agenda items at the beginning of the meeting or at the discretion of the board chair may be deferred to the time the item is before the board as stated in the agenda. Comments about non-agenda items will be heard during audience time at the beginning of the regular board meeting. Speakers shall be limited to 3 minutes. Speakers may offer objective criticism to school operations and programs that are of concern to them. However, in public sessions, the board will not hear personal complaints of school personnel or against any person connected with the school system. Other channels provide for board consideration and disposition of legitimate complaints involving individuals, including board policy, KL, KLD, public complaints. So if there is a desire to speak, you've hopefully been already filling out the audience cards that I have here. If there is anyone that comes in late, we know that through some different communication methods, the start of this period of time was listed as starting at different times, up to including 8 o'clock. We're here at 7:15 about to start that, but we do intend to make sure that people that came with intent to speak will be able to accommodate if there is a late arrival. So if anyone arrives late that you notice, please let them know to continue to pass the board cards to our board secretary, Bell Bach. With that, we have, again, this topic, and as part of the board packet, it was made available a list of information about how we'd like to carry out the discussion, including important points about our interaction today. I think I should. I'm going to go ahead and read the document just so that you all know we're all on the same page. Virginia Garcia's school-based health center at Century High School offers medical, dental, and mental health services to students, staff, and community members. However, based on an informal agreement that was reached with the Hillsboro School District Board of Directors prior to the opening of the clinic, contraceptives are not offered. Lacey Beatty, the SBHC manager, received recently informed the board that students and their families request contraceptives from the SPHC for purposes related not only to family planning, but also other medical issues. And that the closing of local county clinics, which previously offered contraceptives, and the lack of documented decisions regarding the service placed the HPC management and staff in an increasingly difficult position. Board members value the perspective of staff, students, community members on this issue, and are invited to public comment during tonight's meeting. The board will listen to input provided by audience members. However, in this setting, board members will not discuss our own perspectives or reach a decision on the meaning of this matter. So this is kind of a one-way opportunity for community individuals to come and present their feelings. It's not a question and answer session. Question and answer. We won't be able to respond to your comments tonight. We are taking careful notes and we're paying careful attention to all the input gathered, but we're not responding to questions. It's not interaction. It's your time to give community input. I'll keep going on the roll here. So there will be a specific start and end time for the agenda. We intend to allow an hour of public input as stated in the agenda. Everyone who wants to speak must sign a card, list their email address and their position on the matter and any organization they represent. A group that is a unified message is encouraged to select a single spokesperson that will have additional time. The individuals probably is given, jumping off script. In order to ensure that there's equal opportunity for all viewpoints to be heard, comments will be taken alternately, those in favor of the topic, those opposed, or other response types that we have listed here. Each candidate will have, or each speaker will have 3 minutes to speak. Speakers may not give their time to anyone else. An individual speaking on behalf of the group would be allotted 5 minutes instead of 3. Questions will not be answered during the meeting. The board will not make the decision tonight, as I already mentioned. Questions generated from this will be recorded and answered at a later time. And in order to receive those responses, contact information that you provide will allow us to respond directly back to you through our board chair. Anyone who doesn't have the opportunity to speak tonight is welcome to submit written feedback. With that, I will try to give a heads up to the next person up on deck, and we'd ask the podium. Oh, sure. A little bit that way. So we'll ask a person to come up to the podium. There's a 3-minute timer on the podium with a 30-second warning, so that will help you gauge how much time you have left. And I will call one person up and try to indicate the next person on deck so that you can help us move quickly through our speakers so that we give as many people opportunities to speak as possible.
Wayne, can we go through the timeline just to let people know?
Excellent. I forgot this. I'll be back to page. It is an important point. As far as the discussion, the board has had some discussion opportunities already, but our primary discussion opportunity after this evening's gathering session will be on April 5th in our work session, where we will discuss all the feedback extensively, and at that point formulate a proposal to be then written and put on first read in April 26th meeting with a final decision on May 24th. So this is still just in the middle of a long information gathering process where we would like to feel the interests and feelings of the community on this topic. So the final decision will discussion April 5th, 26th, and from then on we'll still be open for public comment May 24th, the final decision. With that, anything else I forgot? Okay. With that, we are going to get quiet because our goal is to listen to you tonight. I've issued upstairs a challenge to all of them, unique perhaps, but the challenge was, despite any predisposed positions we might have personally on the issues, that they would consider carefully and ponder and use this time to listen carefully, particularly to those people that they may not start out agreeing with, to listen to perspectives and try to learn from you how those positions are held conscientiously. With that, I will call up Hannah Alawalia. And then the next person on deck would be Georgia Perry. So you please, at the podium, just state your name and address for the record. I have this question actually about minors, whether we can not for students. So state your name and.
Okay. My name is Hannah Alawalia, and I'm a student at Glencoe High School. I'm here today to show my support for distributing contraceptives and family planning services at the Community Health Center. Thank you.
So next was Georgia Perry.
I'm speaking for a group.
Okay.
So I've got a few people here hands full here. Well, I want to give this to. We have some signatures on a statement that I'll give to you.
Sure.
Okay. And then I just kind of read. There's over 200, and it's and this group here represents well over 100 of the signatures that they've accumulated. Basically, what we're saying is that when the school-based health clinic was formed, we were told that no birth control would be dispensed on Hillsboro School District. Can you hear me? No. Oh, I'm sorry. This is what the statement says. We were told that no birth control would be dispensed on Hillsboro School property at the time that they were establishing this clinic. This change, we feel, usurps parents' rights. We believe the proposed changes would result in the endangerment of the students' health and safety. So we've got these signatures here. What we did is we followed the articles that were in the newspaper, like the Tribune and that, and I got copies of that with me, and statements made by the nurse practitioner, and one of the statements that she made with the clinic, which was a little concerning to parents, is that it was Tara Roberts, and she said that the value is based, the clinic itself, the value is based on students feeling empowered to partner in their health care, and that's what they feel the value of the on-site clinic is. So, as parents, we're kind of concerned. What does this mean? And where are we involved as parents? We wonder. There's a lot of questions we have to answer or ask as far as, are the students referred from school to the clinic, and our parents are really notified at the time. The other thing is in the mental health aspect. We understand the counseling of that. There are state laws that actually protect the confidentiality of the information given, which may or may not get back to the parent. So we know the legal aspects of that terminology of mental health counseling. So that's a bit of a concern. The other thing is I do have another letter here, and it's she wanted to be here. She's a teacher in one of your high schools, and this is what she pointed out. She has a blood problem, and it is aggravated by hormones. She didn't realize it until she lost her first child full-born, but it's genetic. And she said it's rare, but there's other blood problems that can be provoked by birth control. And there is girls that have actually had strokes when they're over a period of time. So there's a lot of things to consider on just who do you give these to, the follow, and everything like that. We feel that it needs to be under a doctor's care specifically, and parents need to be really in charge of whether they're going to allow this or not, because they're going to end up with the responsibility afterwards if there's any complications anyway. So, but the other point that I thought this teacher made, which was very good, she said when her daughter gets to a point where she's in school and maybe she might do it without, ask for birth control or that, she would not know that she might have this breath problem and she would actually be killed. But the most important thing, this is her evaluation of, I got it right here. Here, I thought I was more controlled than this. But anyway, one thing that this teacher brings up is right now, the Oregon law, there's questions about can schools cannot prescribe. If there's a prescription drug that comes into the school and teachers are supposed to give it, you have to have doctors and everything else. Okay, are we taking this and giving full license to the school board, the school clinic, to be able to prescribe something like a birth control without knowing the full effects, because then when it's supposed to have it's a prescription. So are we overriding the fact that we can't do this in the schools, but we can allow the clinic to do this sort of thing when this is prescription drug? There was a great enough. Is that my time?
No, 3 seconds.
Oh, 3 seconds. Okay. Where did I put that about? What she was talking about is that students, oh, here they are. Teenagers, this is what she finds out. I often see far too many teenagers choose immediate gratification over the best choices. Staying up late, playing video games versus getting sleep. Not doing homework to play sports, doing drugs. Teenagers often think they're invincible, hence they will take riskier chances than adults. The mantra, it would never happen to me. And that's where she feels my daughter and other teenagers, are in a position like this. And it's even talked about the current, the brain and everything and the decision making of these young people that will be going to these clinics are not there yet. The judgment's not there. So we feel as parents and community members that this is not appropriate. Is that my time? Okay. All right. Thank you very much for your time. And I just want to leave this with you. One of the people who couldn't be here went by the clinic and picked up these are pamphlets that they have out there for people, for kids to take. This is some information about birth control, and that's actually a research group that have actually shown the implications of birth control by studies, and they find it's the ethical implications and medical implications. Thank you. Thank you.
If you fill out a card, we'd be happy to have you. Just fill out a card, and we'd love to hear from you. And please do. Next up, Rachel Gower. Following that, I'll take Jaime Rodriguez.
It says that I can miss this.
Oh, negative, actually. There you go.
All right. Chair Clifton, board members, my name is Rachel Gowland. I live over at 711 Southeast Oak Glen Way here in this beautiful town. And as a member of the Hillsboro community, I really care about the health and the well-being of the students and the young people here. And I know what it's like to not have access to contraceptives and that sort of health care as a young woman. My father is a pastor. He's very conservative. And the expectation, whether we agreed with it or not as kids, was that my siblings and I would wait until marriage before we had sex. And so we didn't have conversations about that sort of health in my family and in my home. Well, when I was 18, I decided that I was ready to be sexually active. Even though college applications and my homework consumed me, I was taking 4 AP classes at the time. I decided that that was the right experience or the right time for me. But because I didn't have education or access to resources, when that time came, I was really scared and I was really shamed, and that negatively impacted my experience. And I also really inadvertently put myself in a lot of danger by becoming sexually active before I was able to access a clinic where I could get that medication and counseling and make the right choices for my body. So I think that school-based health centers are for students like I was, students who are ready to make these decisions about their own bodies in a safe and healthy way. They deserve this access to clinics that are accessible and safe, informative, so that they can make the right choice. And I really wish that I had that kind of access when I was a teenager. And because I was able to seek that counseling and get the care eventually that I needed, I was able to continue on with my education. Just over the summer, I graduated from the University of Oregon, go Ducks. And now I am working and a proud member of this beautiful community here in Hillsboro. So I would ask you to please support the decision to provide access and knowledge about contraceptives to students, to prevent absenteeism and underachievement, and to make sure that everybody like me has the opportunity to have a happy, successful life. Thank you.
Next up is Jaime Rodriguez.
Good evening, Board Chair. Jaime Rodriguez, 1931 Southeast 55th Avenue, Hillsboro. Thank you for this time, Board and Chair and the audience. I just want to give a thank you to this morning's student summit. Was really great, and it was inspiring to listen to student leaders, so thank you staff for putting that out. I also want to give a shout out to Eric Siegelman, who every Saturday morning, if you don't know, holds a coffee shack for voters and residents of Hillsboro School District. And if you haven't gone, if you guys don't do them, please do. I had a great conversation with them, one-on-one, and although we disagreed on a lot of things, we did agree that we have a passion for what's best for our students here in Hillsboro. So I really quickly want to say that at home, and I have a daughter who's a sophomore at OSU, and at home, as I raised my daughter a Catholic, we practice activism, and then in work, she is one of the Latinas who did not get pregnant as a teenager. What she does as an adult is her business, and I respect her privacy. However, as a community, not all parents practice or spirituality, their faith, and we should be putting what we believe in to other people. Hillsboro is made up of a large community of different faiths who bring up their children however they want to, however they feel best works for them. We got to be careful that we also offer access to those families, those students who come from low-income families where accessibility is a big issue. Where we have to offer healthy options for them. If we're going to have a community-based, a school-based health clinic, we got to make sure that we offer healthy choices for all students, especially those who don't have the resources like my daughter had, or don't have maybe the traditional or non-traditional parenting. But again, in the school environment, there is peer pressure that we need to take account into. There are things that are out of our control, variables such as drugs and alcohol that come into play, and as a youth, peer pressure is big. But again, we have to offer choices, healthy choices, and sometimes we may not like it as an individual, but it's not our choice. It's what we can do best for our community to make sure that our students have the best opportunity to succeed. So with that, I'm going to close. I'm going to say thank you for this time, and best of luck to all of you guys in the information gathering. I didn't do a good job here in gathering information, but I know there's a lot out there. I was just getting emails and more information and data, and I wish you guys all the best. It's not going to be an easy decision, but thank you all for this time.
Next up we'll have Daniel Smith.
So Chair Clift and board members, my name is Daniel Smith and I'm a senior at Glencoe, and I fully support the school district in providing family planning services to my peers, including the dispensation of contraceptives. I'm here to urge the school board to vote in favor of the decision to dispense contraceptives at the school-based health center, which are subject to certification standards and adhere to rigorous guidelines and care. Recently, I did my senior project on sex education in the US. Although this is not about our lacking sex education curricula, a lot of information from my research is applicable to this topic as well. Teen pregnancy rates are highest among girls of color. The main reason is that these girls are underserved by our education system and are not given the tools to lead a healthy and productive life and prevent pregnancy from interfering with their plans. Contraceptives are a tool we can give them to enable them to live their own life. I'm adopted, so I understand the trauma associated with having a child while still in school. Although it may not derail a student's path to success, it does make it very hard to succeed. Empowering these girls who are already having sex to be safe will help them lead a more prosperous and successful life. I personally know of 2 sophomore boys at my school from my health class who speak nonchalantly about their lack of condom usage. What they do not realize is that they are not only putting at risk themselves of STD and STIs, but they are also putting their partner's future at stake. It is the school board's civic duty to put the success of the students, my peers, above all else. Providing contraceptive options to my peers will not be an overreach given the goal of helping students succeed and the legal precedents set by Vernonia v. Acton. Allowing the health center to provide birth control will not lead to more students having sex. In fact, according to research made available by the National Center for Biotechnology, students in schools with SBH health centers report neither more sexual activity nor increased frequency of sexual intercourse compared to students in schools without health centers. It will enable the underserved, who are among the 2/3 of the sexually active students, to better protect themselves and their futures. You never know which girls will find the cure for cancer and climate change. That's why it's important to support these students in their bright futures. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Next up, we'll have Kimberly Scott.
I'm Kimberly Scott. My address, you have it, I'm on the Citizens Curriculum Advisory Board. I've been in Hillsboro for almost 4 years. My kids have been in the school district for the last 4 years. I just feel like the things I've seen in this community, the generosity, the commitment, the involvement, the solutions-based problem solving that we have is just amazing. I don't think that handing out contraceptive and prescriptions to our students is a good idea. I'm here to oppose that. I have 5 daughters, and each one of them is different medically and emotionally and physically. What worries me, and I know maybe these questions will be answered further, but what I know is hormone therapy is very, it has a lot of risks. It has a lot of risks. I have a friend who had an allergic reaction. I have a friend who had terrible complications with an IUD. It worries me that I don't know how well these are going to be tracked. It worries me that a doctor is not following up with them, maybe not counseling, maybe they're giving them information, but are they tracking these students? Are they following up with these girls? And it offends me that girls are targeted, because being sexually active hurts boys and affects boys too. And I feel like we know the statistics of kids that are sexually active. They're like 5 times more likely to be depressed and to attempt suicide. I feel like where's the money coming for this? Is the school district going to take responsibility for these allergic reactions, complications, hormone problems? I mean, I'm just wondering if the school district is going to take responsibility and have like an umbrella policy for health coverage, because like I said, having 5 daughters with such different needs and going to the doctors and figuring these things out, I don't think it's a good idea for the school district to be taking this on. What I would like to do, and I have also collected names of lots of parents. All these have, I didn't do a lot of signature gathering, but I talked to a lot of people. These are people that are volleyball coaches, PTO presidents, do all the fundraisers, have done so much stuff to help the kids in the schools, are totally involved. And I think that if this is a huge problem that they're finding in the school-based health center, we can come up with a better solution to help our girls, help our boys. Give them counseling, have after-school mentors, do more than just handing out contraceptives and saying it's safe. It's safe and healthy for you to be sexually active. I look at these little middle school students. I mean, how old? Is it any age? Anyone in the school district? Is it high school only? Is it middle school? Is it 6th grade, 5th grade? I'd like to have some answers to that too, because I look at those kids and I've worn out my life taking care of kids and I continue to do so. So, thank you.
We know more people may have been coming in. We announced earlier that the starting time for this session moved up from announcements at certain points. There are cards in the back. We're still taking these papers that you can fill out to request to speak. So if you're coming in, please know you can fill out and we will continue. Up next is Reverend Joan Stone. Joan?
I am Joni Stoneting. I'm a retired UCC pastor. My address is 3262 Northeast 11th Street here in Hillsboro. My children have gone all the way through Hillsboro School District. My son is in his second year of the transitions program. My daughter no longer lives in Hillsboro. She's in McMinnville and doing the transitions program there from the group home she lives in. I am here to speak on behalf of supporting the contraceptive and family planning program that you are providing or thinking about providing. There are a lot of reasons that our young men and women will need contraceptives and family planning services in high school and possibly even in lower grades. I don't know that that's what you're planning. There are a lot of reasons for that. Rachel spoke earlier and eloquently to one of the ones that was on my list, and I'm going to cross it off because she did so well in terms of speaking about religious reasons for doing that. When religion is an obstacle to getting the health care one needs. Another reason is sexual assault. According to Dr. Google, the current statistics by the time a young woman reaches the age of 18, the chances are between 44 and 60% that she will have been sexually assaulted at some time. That may present a reason that she may not be able to go to or may not feel like she can go to a parent and report that, and yet still feel like she needs care. And a school-based health clinic may be her only option for getting that care. We ought to support that young woman. Within that statistic is my experience, and that would be one of incest. I am 61 years old. Some of you are old enough to remember 1967 and 1968. I could not certainly have gone to my mother and told her I was at risk for pregnancy, or even told her that I was pregnant. She would not have supported that. She would not have gotten me help. She consistently, throughout my growing up, chose a parent or step-parent over my well-being over and over and over again. I would have been pregnant at 13 had my father lived. Had she been in a relationship where I could not get out of the house in a car, I would have been pregnant at 15, at 18, and on and on. Our young women don't always have the option to talk to a parent or somebody else or to get to a clinic. They need this service. Please take that into consideration. Thank you for your time.
Next up, we'll have Nora O'Brien.
My name is Nora O'Brien. I live at 3908 Southeast River Court. I'm speaking to you tonight as a mother, a grandmother, and a teacher. And it's with utmost sincerity and respect that I pose questions and present views on the subject of the dispensing of birth control. 3 key words are used in Hillsboro schools to help children grow. They are safe, respectful, and responsible. And it is in the light of those 3 words I present some questions and concerns that we as adults should consider. Safe. We want our children to be safe from physical and emotional harm. Upon skimming just the surface of many studies on the safety of artificial birth control, red flags immediately appear. The World Health Organization has officially classified oral contraceptives as a Group 1 carcinogen, Group 1 being the most dangerous. The Mayo Clinic has reviewed studies and has shown that there's an increased risk of developing pre-menopausal breast cancer in women who have taken the pill prior to their first baby. Overall, an increase of 44%, as well as increases in the risk of liver and cervical cancer. Synthetic hormones can also be administered by injection with the drug Depo-Provera. Studies have shown that women who take this for 2 years or more before the age of 25 have a 190% increase in the chance of developing breast cancer. Both these, all studies also have shown that the AIDS virus is transmitted more easily to women who are on the pill or using Depo-Provera if their partner has the AIDS virus. Condoms also prevent the risk. They do not eliminate the transmission of AIDS to men and women, and they also have not been shown have proven effectiveness in reducing the transmission of any other STDs. Respect. We want our children to look at others as persons and not as objects, not as means for short-term pleasure. We want our children to desire what is truly good for the other and to see the inherent dignity of a human person. Easy access to contraception puts at risk those who have disabilities, those lonely, those not fitting in, to be easily taken advantage of. It tells our children your sexual activeness defines you as a person. Do we want our young men to define manhood based on their sexual activities? Or should we be placed on putting others first, recognizing the inherent dignity of women and defending it? How do we want our women to define themselves as unique and worthy of respect, or again by their sexual activity? And are we culturally aware of the cultural morals of other religions being respected? Not just that of Christianity, but that also of Jewish and Muslim faith. Responsible. Is responsibility for our sexual life merely preventing pregnancy? Or is there a responsibility and a commitment to the other person? No artificial birth control is 100%. What then of pregnancies? Will the health centers then refer for abortion? Where is or will the line be drawn? Is it the school's responsibility to have birth control easily accessible and thus to present a morality different than the home? Is it building partnership with parents, or is it undermining their moral authority? Do we love our young people enough to want a higher standard for them? Do we have the moral courage to say no? This isn't the way I want you to risk your happiness, health, and your young life. Thank you.
Barbara Glacier.
My name is Barbara Glazer. I live at 31040 Southwest Laurel View Road in Hillsboro. I graduated from high school in 1953, long before many of you were born. There was no such thing as family planning at that time. And yet I had friends in high school who wound up becoming pregnant, and they disappeared for a year. They either were sent off someplace to live away from their friends, or they had an abortion illegally because abortion was not legal. I have 3 adult daughters. I had 3 daughters within 5 years. And when my 3rd daughter was born, I told my OBGYN while I was still in the hospital, I want a prescription for birth control pills. They had just come on the market. They were a lifesaver for me. And they were a lifesaver and have been a lifesaver. Not just birth control pills, but other forms of contraception as well, for millions and millions of women and young men. Because what hasn't been mentioned is what happens to women who have children and wind up in poverty and homelessness. We've seen too much of that in this country, and kids don't deserve that. The Guttmacher Institute has said that Oregon has one of the lowest teen pregnancy rates in the country. And part of it is due, they claim, to the availability of sex education and contraceptive services. Oregon has reduced adolescent pregnancies by 33.5% in 5 years. 78% of teen pregnancies are unintended. Of that 78%, 35% of women choose abortion. So having contraceptive services available can continue to help lower the abortion rate. The other thing I want to throw in here, just for the humor of it, is that men have contraceptive services available to them 24/7. Condoms can be purchased in drugstores, supermarkets, any place. But women do not have that. So I urge you, please provide contraceptive services for women. It doesn't just have to be birth control or birth control pills. There are certainly many other services available. Thank you.
April Davis.
My name is April Davis. I live at 788 Northeast Brigham Lane in Hillsboro, Oregon. I've had 4 children in the Hillsboro School District. Better? Okay. I do not believe that Hillsboro School District should be providing health services, especially by prescribing contraceptives to students without parental permission. By providing these services without parental consent undermines family relationships and is not the best interest of the child. By not involving parents, communicates to the child that their parents' opinions and values do not matter. This message will harm the parent-child relationship and denies parents the opportunity to have these life-changing discussions. This is not the role a school should be involved with. An argument may have been made that the child may be put in danger if they were to approach their parents with this type of request. Many times a child's thoughts of what a parent may do or say is far from reality. If the child has been abused, it is the responsibility of the center to report the abuse. If the center was to give a child that has been abused a prescription for contraceptives without the parent's consent, it will enable the abuse and put the child in greater danger. For the safety and well-being of the child, the parents need to be a part of the decision. Lastly, I do not believe that schools should be facilitating health care in general, and especially contraceptives. It is the family's responsibility to do this. The more of the basic family responsibilities we hand over to the schools, the more control we give them raising our children, and the more dependent families become concerning this basic responsibility. Thank you for your time.
Kimberly Culbertson.
Hillsboro School District Board, and my name is Kimberly Culbertson. I live at 223 Northeast 5th Avenue in downtown Hillsboro. Our schools in Hillsboro have a rather high rate of free and reduced lunch recipients. And poverty is what forces these children to access these services. Because we know, I mean, having been a child myself, that is not a fashionable stance. Poverty makes people angry and less likely to be generous to each other. They pay less in taxes, and they're less likely to vote for bond issues to improve our schools. The reason I mention this is nothing slows down a person's fiscal progress than an early and unwanted pregnancy. Especially before high school graduation. Now, last year, according to Oregon Live, approximately 235 children dropped out of the Hillsboro School District. And only 23% of those children will obtain a GED, according to the same source. Now, some of those dropouts are young moms and dads, and they're very unlikely to get back the kinds of opportunities that they were given in school. So, reproductive health is really fundamental to the overall health of both men and women of childbearing age, and those are our primary earners in this county. Rather than foster the poverty brought by poor health and lack of opportunity, Hillsboro School District should allow students to obtain reproductive health services, including barrier methods, through Virginia Garcia Health Clinics, a very well-regarded health clinic, and including the PET. Thank you.
Who drops? We have Veronica Bedell.
My name is Veronica Davila, and I live in Hillsboro. I'm a parent. I think every one of you, I think you have a very important decision to decide the future of young kids. They're just beautiful, and I think they deserve the best. I think they deserve good in the future, and you deserve a family to get married, have kids, because that will make you happy. To be sexually active before marriage is wrong. It will give you diseases, it will give you pregnancy if you don't want. I think you should wait until marriage is the best for you, because you better and you feel happy because you have a family, you have mom and dad and kids. That's the best. That will make a future bright, and I think that makes a country strong. This country will be strong. This Hillsboro will be strong if they teach the kids chastity and abstinence before marriage, and I think that's the best thing for them. Thank you for everybody, and I think that you have a very important decision. Please think of the future of all the kids in Hillsboro. Thank you.
Next up, we have Katie Riley. Just gonna check the microphones. Somebody switched it off.
My name is Katie Riley. I live at 250 Northeast Hillwood Drive in Hillsboro. I've been a resident of this community for over 20 years. My two children went through school here, and I now have a grandson going to school here as well. So I'm talking tonight in support of having contraceptives in school-based health centers. The average age of first intercourse worldwide is 14 years of age. And that is worldwide. And our kids are simply no different. To rob them of tools to prevent unintended pregnancy is short-sighted. It causes undue hardship on students and promotes costs to our community as well. To quote research findings, at least 80% of teenage pregnancies are unintended, and 3/4 of those pregnancies occur to adolescent women who do not use contraception. Moreover, it also increases the risk of STDs. The school-based health centers are under the supervision of Virginia Garcia, which is a federally qualified health center, and they operate under medical guidelines. They do not dispense oral contraceptives willy-nilly. There's also available contraceptives, other contraceptives as well, including condom use, which can prevent sexually transmitted diseases. According to the 2015 Healthy Teen Survey, the responses of Washington County students to questions about sexual intercourse are very illuminating. Approximately 7% of Washington County 8th graders report having had sexual intercourse. 8th graders, okay? And the majority of them report having first had sex at the age of 13 or 14. Approximately 15% of those students reported using no contraceptive methods, and 15% reported having been under the influence of alcohol or drugs at the time. The picture for Washington County 11th graders shows that approximately 36% reported having had sexual intercourse. However, the age was, for the majority of them, was a little bit older, 15 or 16. However, like the 8th graders, for some it was as young as 11 years or younger. They also reported some of them being under the influence of alcohol or drugs and not using contraceptives. The Hillsboro School District does not teach about human sexuality or contraception until the 9th grade. As you can see from the foregoing statistics, this is way too late. And when you compound that with not having access to contraceptive guidance from professionals, this is definitely a problem. As we know, students who become pregnant often are more likely to not complete their studies and drop out of school. Therefore, afterwards becoming an economic drain rather than contributors to our community. So we should not be handicapping them, but should be facilitating their ability to make healthy choices and prevent unwanted pregnancies. We really should make it possible that all children are wanted children. Thank you.
Next up, we have Nancy Hirsch. Okay, Tammy Albertine.
I live in Hillsboro. I've been in the Hillsboro district since 1991. I have one son who graduated from Century, one who's currently at Century, and a daughter in 7th grade. And I want to go on record as opposing to the addition of contraceptives to school-based health clinics. Back when the health clinic was being formed, I was assured at one of the meetings I went to that these would not be available to our students at this school-based health clinic. I have a neighbor whose son told her that condoms are currently available at the health clinic right now, that students can go and get those anytime they want to. I don't believe the school district should be involved in providing birth control to our children. There are many possible side effects which can occur with the use of the birth control drugs and devices, including the higher risk of breast cancer, strokes, high blood pressure, blood clots, heart attacks, depression, migraines, uterine perforation, increased risk of tubal pregnancies, which is the leading cause of maternal death in the United States, among others. What happens if a child suffers one of these conditions, but the parent is not aware that she's using birth control because she's obtained these without their knowledge? Parents should absolutely be involved in the decision for a child to use birth control. And having this so accessible to the teens just encourages sexual activity and may actually lead to more unwanted pregnancies and abortions. The answer is not to make it more available and accessible. I don't really have the answer. I think parents need to do their job at home and something. But let's not encourage kids to have kids by making birth control that fails and then leads to abortion accessible. Thank you.
Next up we have Peter Wedley.
My name is Peter Whitlake. I'm currently a sophomore at Glencoe High School, and I support the distribution of contraceptives through school clinics. First off, I'm not going to name any names, but someone saying that more access to contraception would then make teens have more sex is actually wrong. There's a study in the United Kingdom and Canada that proves that it had no effect on teens having sex. And so with that, it will lead to safer sex. It reduces absentees at school because you don't have to go to a doctor's appointment or a clinic to get it prescribed. Also, with people saying that like the parents don't have the parents don't have a say, that there doesn't need to be any parent permission. That's the same way that if you go to your doctor. Like if you go to your doctor, there is complete patient confidentiality with the doctor, and they could get it prescribed without your permission anyway, so you're wrong. Birth control has no adverse effect on future fertility, if people ever want to make that claim. Also, it can reduce the risk of ovarian cancer. It's also not a financial issue because of the Affordable Care Act. It means that contraceptives are something that the insurance companies to take care of, so you wouldn't be paying anything out of pocket. And I believe that the Hillsboro School District has the highest amount of undesired births in the state of Oregon, which is awful. And also, so I'm in AP Human Geography, so I'm going to drop some facts on you. When we're studying development, which is the unit we're in right now, we measure development by access to family planning. And so I think it's disgusting that we're going to be rejecting family planning when countries like Niger are having more access to family planning than we have. Also, I'm a student. I'm doing this thing. I'm also a male, and if I do and get someone pregnant, I'm not able, I'm not that capacity. I like to think I'm very mature for my age, everyone does. I don't have the capacity to raise a child. That child's going to be a burden on the parent, not the student, because most parents agree that we need further education for our students. Also, like with condoms and stuff, they do, according to the FDA and the CDC, numerous studies have shown that use of latex condoms can be highly effective against spreading of specifically HIV. And so I just think that, like, look at yourselves. You're all parents. You're not in the situation you are right now. Board, I ask you to look at yourself. You're 62.5% white males, most of which are older. You don't know what it's going to be like. I don't know what it's going to be like to have a child, and I think that it should be in the hands of women to make this choice, not old white males.
I'm sorry, did you say Braun?
Oh,
yeah. So I'm a little sick right now, so I'm sorry about my voice. My name is Bronwyn Grover, and I am a junior at Glencoe High School. Now, I'm someone who comes from a very open family. I've been told that what I do with my body is my choice, and I do have access to contraceptives. However, I do realize that this is not the case with everyone, and I think that women's healthcare rights has really never been a concern up until now, and I think this is such a great opportunity for us to look at this and kind of see how this affects women, especially women who are minorities, because they are underrepresented in our community. Now, I kind of want to say that as a female student, that what I do with my body, I want it to be my choice, not necessarily left up to what my community wants for me, because I understand that there's this whole there's the research behind teenagers not being able to make the right decisions for themselves. However, as I am 17, I am having to decide on what I want to do for the rest of my life, and I do want to decide what it is I do with my body. And I do think this is something that is so very important, as it does kind of affect the economy and us as a community. And I really do want you to take a look at this and kind of see how this does affect teenage girls. So thank you.
And Kylie Baird.
Thanks. My name is Kylie Byard, Verderer. It's cool that you could say the whole thing. It's kind of long. I live at 545 Northeast Birchwood Road in Hillsboro. My husband and I have owned our home for about 2 years here. I love Hillsboro. I'm here as a community member speaking in support of the school-based health centers being able to offer what I like to call life planning services, typically contraception and family planning. I want to take a moment to first say, great job, you young people, for coming out and speaking your voice on this issue. It's fantastic to see people engaged in this, and I would hope that the board can take that into consideration, that there are people of all ages here that are engaged in this topic, and our young people are in the school district right now, so thank you. Women in poverty are 5 times more likely, according to a Brookings Institute report put out, I think, about 18 months ago. Women in poverty are 5 times more likely to experience an unwanted childbirth. That's a birth, not just a pregnancy. So it doesn't count all of the women who have terminated a pregnancy or who have miscarried during the pregnancy. Significantly higher. Also, according to a community action report that was put out a few years back, the population in Washington County grew by about 20% between 2000 and the year 2010. And at the same time, the poverty rate has increased 114%. So we have a lot of people living in poverty who don't have access to these kinds of services. If we're offering school-based health centers that offer every other kind of health service, but not this one, I question that. There are a lot of young women that go to the Hillsboro School District who aren't able to access those services through their own primary care physician, or they're not able to get to a Planned Parenthood or other kind of clinic due to a lack of transportation or something like that. Not offering these services is doing a disservice to the students of our school district and to our community. As someone who was blessed with being very privileged growing up, I was able to access oral contraceptions, IUDs, anything that I needed to make good decisions about my health care growing up. Not everybody's able to do that, and I would hope that our school board could take that into consideration when making a decision on this. Thank you.
So that's all the papers that I have. Did we cover everybody? Is there anyone else who would like to speak? Well, let me just say, though it's not a topic for us to continue the discussion, one thing I know that I can universally say for the board is that we are so appreciative of community members who go out of their way to attend meetings, to express their opinions, and to be heard. This is not, it's a challenging discussion as we've all listened closely, and there are strong, heartfelt, well-meaning opinions on both sides of the issue, and it would be a challenge for us to assemble that and come to a decision. I feel inclined to take advantage of the opportunity that with you here tonight. We don't often get to actually have many people attend, as funny as that may seem. It's wonderful that it can come. I would like to just, because you are excellent communicators and communicators in our community, I wanted to just convey a couple of facts about the School-Based Health Center. We've enjoyed having it for several years, and it is led by a doctor on site that is responsible for the activities that go on there. There are other staff at the facility, but it's led by a doctor. The current status of what it offers in regards to family planning is counseling regarding options and availability of different options to people of both sexes. And it does not distribute condoms on site, so we are not currently doing that. And furthermore, it's been told to us by the School-Based Health Center that they also do not distribute, because of the nature of the facility and the complexities of doing so, they don't distribute any form of pharmaceuticals outside of the traditional single-use aspirin, Tylenol, that kind of thing. And in our decision process, it's also been indicated that it's there, it is their necessity still to continue that, to not just actually distribute prescription pharmaceuticals from the facility, because that's outside the scope of its capability. So that's the scenario, and we're left to figure out how to balance many wonderful priorities that are important, and we will do our best in healthy conversation throughout the next month. So please continue to solicit feedback from your friends, talk with your community neighbors and members, and feed us back all the emails that we get. We have received several other emails prior to this meeting from interested community members on the topic that we want to confirm that we do receive. We read and are taking into account, assembling into a file that's available to us to read everything. If there are any other feedback anyone would provide, you or others, please direct them to send it to the school board. The emails are published on the website. You can send it to us or care of any of the district staff, and it will get to us. Thank you so much for your input. We really appreciate it. And you are welcome to stay, because we have a really exciting rest of the meeting. Sure. We would love to have you. But you're certainly welcome to, I'm sure there's homework to be done. I know I have when I get home, I have to finish 2 7th grade Call of the Wild essay assignments. So. While we're waiting, we will take a 2-minute recess. It's not unrecessing, it's somebody want to give me the reconvene.
I can't believe
And
it.
everybody who is here to
I know.
consume your report. I tried to hold it.
So the financial report was included in my packet. Hello.
There you go.
So the financial report was included in the packet. The highlights are we ran the March payroll today that included the last of the retro pay from the 2 contract settlements. We had all of those little supplemental pay line items that we needed to retro pay. That was all done as a part of this March payroll. So we are good to go on all of our new contracts. We're in place for the next 2 years. No more retro pay. We do have some new faces in the business office that we are in the process of integrating into our office. Patty Birch, who has been in our accounts payable department for several years, retired, and we have a new person in her place, Denise. And Coral, as I mentioned last time, Unger is on a maternity leave, so we have Pam stepping into her role. When Coral returns, she will be in a new role. So a little turnover, but it's very exciting. We have some really good people, and we're really excited. I'm happy to answer any questions regarding the financial report itself. Or not.
Okay. Seeing no questions, I will not take offense if we move to you next. Which is up for Debbie, first readings.
Yes, you have before you tonight the first reading of revision for board policy GBM and staff complaints. This is based on OSBA recommendations, and it has to do with adding language with the whistleblowing law. So we're required to do that. So the citation on the ORSs are what's driving this change, and we are proposing to adopt the recommended language from Oregon School Board Association. It's that first paragraph in the policy that talks about whistleblowing on complaints. The rest of the modifications that you see there are pretty minor. They're wordsmithing and clarifying the process that will be defined in the AR. And so if you have any questions about that, please feel free to call or email me if you have any questions about that while this is up for review. So second so this is a proposed revision, 30-day review for policy GBDA. It's mother-friendly workplace. It's a very minor addition to the language driven by a revision in the OAR, and what it required is us to locate places for nursing mothers to be able to breastfeed or express milk that is within close proximity of the employee's work area. It just used to state work area, and they want to make sure that we're trying to find spaces that are actually closer to their work area. So we've added that to the language in this proposed change.
Any questions?
Yeah. Just one minor question on this. So obviously this has been something that we've been familiar with for a very long time.
Yes.
We haven't had any kind of challenges finding these areas for mothers.
Not to date, not that I know of. We actually refer nursing mothers to their site supervisors, their administrators, to find places. So to my knowledge, we've always been able to find private places for them. This will just, it kind of more closely defines that the space needs to be as close to their work area as we can find, and to provide them with plumbing with sinks and so forth so they can rinse out some of their equipment and so forth. So I know that our administrators are very accommodating to our moms to help them to find those places, and then to be able to find private times for them to do this.
So it matches our current practice, just putting down the language a little bit better.
It is, and it's putting the language in, and it's also in the AR, we're going to put some language in about making sure that they have signage for doors and so forth that says, it's private and those kinds of things.
Okay, so just a clarification. It says other than the restroom, so where in the school would we put them?
Well, if you look at, I know for many of our elementary schools, my daughter-in-law was a nursing mother at Witch Hazel, and so she actually could use on her breaks her classroom, and so she would put the sign outside on the door of her classroom. There's a sink in her classroom and so forth. So they're able to find different areas. Some of our schools have private restroom areas, those kinds of things. So they work with their administrators to find them, and the language is close proximity to the work areas other than a restroom. Some of those, I'm sure, in some buildings, we're working right now to make sure that we're identifying those areas in the schools that are as close as we can get them. Might not be as close as other areas for the staff, depending on the building.
Well, hopefully we're not putting them in the custodian closet.
No, you're absolutely right. No, never want to do that.
Any other questions? Still doing it. Ken, turn the page. We'll point out the buttons.
Yeah.
That was right.
Sorry, forgot about those.
No worries. Okay, next up, we move to consent agenda. We'll be looking for a motion.
I move that we approve the consent agenda.
Second.
The motion is made by Eric, seconded by Kim to approve the consent agenda. Any questions?
A push one button.
And I still look. I lost my chance.
The only comment I would like to make is that, it's always when we're looking over these consent agendas and you see teachers that you have known for many years, that it is their time, they're retiring, it always pulls a little flame to your heart. So I just wanted to, I just really, respect their service for what they've done for our students. And so many of these, this particular month, have a personal connection with, and I'm happy for them and sad for our students to not have them in classrooms. And the other item that I just wanted to say is, if I can't say anything enough about it, financial algebra. Just saying. All over, love it. Duplicate, duplicate, duplicate.
Okay, thank you. Seeing no other questions, all those in favor of approving the consent agenda, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Motion carries. First up, Debbie, with action items, proposal regarding the inclement weather day.
If we walk back to January 4th, we had an inclement weather day when the district was closed due to weather. Bless you.
Thank you.
And so the recommendation that I'm making is that we not make up that day on the calendar. There are several factors that play into this recommendation. We meet instructional seat time requirements without making up the instructional day. We check with neighboring districts to see the districts that were closed along with us to see what they were doing. Tigard, Beaverton, Forest Grove, Sherwood, and Banks are not making up the missed days. The only district that I could find that is Portland, and they had 2 days, and so they're making up those days. Adding a day to the calendar would move the teacher's last work day to a Monday. It would move the last student day from a Thursday to Friday, and then the teachers would have to come back that next Monday for a work day. And this has been yet another year with heavy workload for all of our teachers. And so I think that since we don't need to make it up for any instructional days, that there would be a lot of goodwill in recognizing the work of our staff and not having to have them make that day up. I provided you an update with a little bit of additional information that according to the contract, we have two, the licensed contract and the classified contract. For licensed teachers, they get paid for the day when we have a district closure. If students are required to report to school, if we make up that day for students, then teachers per contract report to work for that additional day and they don't receive additional pay. If the district wants to make up the day without students, like we did a couple of years ago for professional development, we would need to bargain that with a licensed bargaining unit, because the contract says if no students come, then they're not required to come for that day. For classified employees, they did not report that day and they received full pay for the hours that they're contracted to work. According to the classified contract, If school is made up with students, then they would obviously make up that day, no additional pay because they've already been paid for that day. If we don't make up school and don't have required professional development for them, they are still required to somehow make up for the day as hourly employees. So the new contract language that we just bargained also says that. That's been a long-standing contract language. But with the new contract, it's broadened kind of how they can make it up. We wanted to broaden the language to let classified employees make it up. They could use, if they have personal leave day, they could use leave without pay if they have vacation. So if it's not going to be a school day, they still make up the time. They've got a little bit more opportunities, broader opportunities to actually make up that day if they're not going to do something around PD. And they'll work with their supervisors to figure out what that is.
So does that include bus drivers?
Yes, that would include bus drivers. And yes, and I don't know if any of our drivers drove that day. Sometimes we have students that go to districts, we take them to locations that are still open on, so, but it definitely applies to all of our classified employees.
So I remember the last time we did this, which was maybe last year, and there was confusion among classified employees about the makeup. And I just remember being in buildings a lot last spring and there just being confusion. And so just how do we clearly articulate not only how they can make it up, but maybe also if there were modifications in contract language so that they understand what contract language is and that it wasn't like one group of employees got favored in a different way than another group of employees, because that's certainly not our intent. Our intent is to respect the contract language that's in place.
Exactly. That's a great question. Thank you for asking that. What we'll do once a decision is made is we'll contact, and we always work with the union, so yeah, we will most likely have a communication plan that involves the administrative team as well as the individual classified employees, and we'll probably look to HCU to put something out in their newsletters also to clarify the language, because we've been working collaboratively to really clarify all of the new language. So that's a great point to make sure. We've already had administrators calling and asking us, can we use the extra, are we going to have extra time to make up the day? So they're wondering for classified employees already.
Thank you.
Being the old white man that I am, does this set a precedent? For example, next year if we have one day, are we going to forgive it as well? Or if we have 3 days, are we going to forgive one? What is our trigger on that, as far as decision making is concerned?
And you know, we haven't had an official trigger on how many days that we've had to miss to make up. I know there is one district that actually does have a trigger. And that might be something that we would consider. I think we've taken it one year at a time to see, number one, when we can make that decision, what the impact would be instructionally, do we need the time? And then I remember, was it last year, that if we made it up, it was going to put kids in school on a Monday, their last day on Monday, so we considered in attendance and so forth when we made that decision, when you made that decision last year.
Well, I would like to see us have some kind of guidelines as to, if we miss a day, we don't make it up, no matter what, unless it's, required for instructional time. If it's 2 days or 3 days, I think we're going to have some kind of procedure to make those decisions. Because we've got it in the calendar, we approve the calendar.
Right. We can certainly talk about that.
Any other questions? So, with a note, it sounds like to consider future years how to deal more regularly with it. I would look for a motion.
I make a motion that we approve the proposal to not make up the January 4th, 2016 inclement weather day.
Second.
Motion is made by Kim and seconded by Janine to approve the proposal regarding the inclement weather day. Any other questions? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Motion carries. And this is the last action item for tonight. We will turn to Adam for approval of resolution amendment for energy project.
Yeah, this should sound really familiar. At the last board meeting, the board approved us moving forward with the financing agreement for the QECB, the Energy Conservation Financing Program. When we sent the resolution back to the bond attorney, she says, well, you didn't reference the list of projects in the resolution itself. We had forwarded the list of projects to the board. You had an opportunity to look through all of them, but because they weren't referenced in the resolution, I get to come back and ask you to approve an amended resolution that has the projects detailed out as part of the resolution.
Okay, I would look for a motion first, and then we'll take any questions.
I'll make a motion that we approve the amended resolution that includes the reference to the project.
Second.
Motion is made by Glenn, seconded by Lisa to approve the amended resolution that includes the state list of projects to be included in the energy project financing. Any questions? Seeing none, those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. With that, we will move to reports, HC to HEA. At your discretion, whoever gets their pass
So, I just wanted to start off by thanking the payroll department. They worked tirelessly to make sure the retro pays went up. The first round went off. I hadn't heard a peep from anybody about the first retroactive pay, which I think is good news, and I hope that we get good news by not doing anything the next time. The other thing I'd just like to mention, I was really interested with the conversation that we had today. I think it was, I think the board handled it really professionally, and I think it's kudos to them for how they handled it. And I think when I first heard about that particular topic, I was really concerned about politics wading in, but after hearing people's reaction and how the board is handling it, I think I am heartened by the fact that I think the board, all you folks, think doing what's best for students is your guiding light to make decisions, and I hope that you keep that close to your heart as you wrestle with this very controversial issue. So, thank you.
I would like to thank Board Director Lisa Allen for mentioning our 5K fundraiser. I think that what you have on the 21st is the Proud to Be Ageist.
No, yes, but also I have a Girls on the Run 5K.
You runner.
You should bring them on the 14th. Yeah. You should bring them on the 14th. Last year we learned that this event is more than just a fundraiser. It's an opportunity to bring families in the community together and to celebrate a school community. So you'll have a great time if you can be there. And I also would like to thank you for taking the time to listen to the concerns of the community. It was a positive experience that you chose a process of active listening. Thank you, because I know that is a tough decision. And in a similar vein, our licensed staff will appreciate that because we've met seat time requirements, that there will be no expectation of making up the snow day. When you make that decision, their perception is that you're appreciating that they've been put in a lot of hours beyond the school day. So thank you for that.
Just really quick, I had the opportunity to visit 3 schools in the last week, West Union, Century, and Liberty, and it's always a pleasure to get into classrooms and see firsthand what's happening there. Tomorrow night we do have the community event for our Hill High principal finalist, and so we've got a number of folks that have been invited to participate in that. It is by invite only, so don't just show up. There's a process that Debbie's saying, why are you even there? I'm sorry, I did. I'll move on to the summit. The summit this morning. what a great event to have kids have a voice and have an opportunity to share their thoughts, not only on what has served them well in our district, but also some of the areas that we can fix and some of their desires for future students coming through our system. So thanks for those of you that could make it. I appreciate you being there. It was a great opportunity to hear from our kids. Thank you.
We'll start at Eric's end.
Yeah, nothing to add.
I have just a couple things. One, in my work with Bright Brain and young audiences, I often get a hear feedback about school districts in the Tri-County area, and had a proud to be HSD moment when staffers said getting to collaborate and work in Hillsboro is like going to Disney World. That Hillsboro School District is the Disney World of school districts in our area. So kudos to
Zoom in and repeat for the camera.
And then kudos winter sports. If you've been following the newspaper, we had wrestlers and basketball teams and swimmers, and it's just sort of mind-boggling how competitive our students are, and for those who didn't think we could be competitive even in 6A, how we were. And then I have one question or homework assignment. I'd be curious to know, with the school-based health center, if we do not provide contraceptives, if our students have access to the school-based health centers in Washington County that do prescribe. Helpful information. And that's it.
Really fast. I wanted to say thank you to Don for his presentation today, because I think one of the things that we all, I think, walked away with is looking at that education is a changing model, and everything that is happening is new and exciting, and it segues me into our Clark County Skills Center visit. Holy moly, that was fantastic. Exciting because not only are these students, the opportunities that these students are having at that center is just amazing. And then I put it back with my brain with my visit in Texas when I was looking at all those students that were able to get, college credits and certificates of completion so that they could take that on and either continue on to get more college credit, or they could actually take that to a workplace. I just think let's just continue the conversation, because it's just incredible, and it just means student success, which also takes me to the to the summit. It is exciting to have that when you're working in the summit and you're working in strategic planning, or whether you're at the board superintendent advisory team meeting and you're hearing the same message over and over again from students, that it's the relationships, it's the counselors, it's the people in their school experience, what Eddie was saying, when the security officer made a difference in his life and was a turning point. It was chilling. I mean, it's really chilling to hear those kind of stories from students. And so to have that in our strategic plan as our focus is just bullseye. Anyway, I just think it's great, and I thank you. And I wanted to say that Read Across America was a fantastic experience. I love getting into the classrooms and being able to do that and to see the student artwork and everything that comes back. Look at that, Girl the Turtle. Look at that, it's beautifully illustrated. Anyway, I love the experience, and it also led me to say support the arts. The plays were absolutely phenomenal. To see Mr. Zaire there at the Century High School Sound of Music, sitting there enjoying the play, and students recognizing him and thanking him for being there. Kudos, because those students work really hard to make those happen, and it's goosebumpy. And the last thing I want to say is Governor Brown visiting our school, our community, to see the great things that are happening in our housing in our community, but as well as also in our schools, and to be excited. And kudos to Shannon Jones for her respiratory system song. It's amazing, and that's all I have. Thank
Oh, I've decided to be non-negative, so I've got misses and hits. And I want to do the misses first, so I did it with the hits, so in the positive. I think a big miss was our governor appointing an education chief with no education background. She chose an attorney, which is bad in itself. And I'll just quote from Toya Fick, Executive Director for Morgan Stand for Children. I think she says it real well. In taking this step, the governor missed an opportunity to engage educators, parents, communities of color, school boards, and businesses. I think she missed it. The hits, I think I went to 3 of the musicals at our high schools. Great talent. I missed Till High. I tried to get there, but it just didn't work out. Great talent, great direction from directors, and the music in those musicals were great. And then Read Across America, I went to 3 different schools, and it was really great when I told a joke and the kids laughed. So I was really inspired. That's my hits for the week.
I mostly said my stuff earlier, but I will let you guys know that now we have a team of 3 so far for 5K. So if you want to be on the team, let me know, because I will send you the information. And if you have any ideas for our team name, let me know.
Proud to be HSE.
Yeah, but I mean, it's not snazzy.
I think it's really snazzy, Beth. Just saying.
Okay. But if you have other snazzy ideas. And that's my t-shirt. 62.5% old white guys. Snazzy. We can dress up like old white guys. Good ideas. Okay, so keep them coming.
I like that. Okay. I only had a couple of things here. Also, Jeannie kind of stole a couple of my comments here, but I just amplified that thing with Don, your presentation. This is the second time I had actually heard it, and I have to tell you that we actually talked about it extensively in our committee. And in fact, this is the first time I remember this ever happening, but we actually stayed after in our meeting. Some people couldn't stay, and we just kept chatting about all this stuff that had to do with technology and conferences and whatnot. So thank you very much for bringing that to the board. The sufficiency model is interesting, a lot of stuff to work out, but I think it's a step in the right direction. So, and the other piece was the governor coming and visiting. It was an honor to entertain her for an hour, walking around our school and showing off our kids and fantastic things that they do. She had a great time, I could tell, and frankly, we did too. So it was great to have her. So anyway, that's all I got.
Thank you all for coming. It was a very nice visit with the governor. I appreciated the opportunity also to be in the school, see the wonderful STEM activities and the walls coated with great representation of our students' talents and the direction we can go. Thank you all for your attentiveness this evening at the input session. We have 2 weeks or so for our meeting where we have a more detailed discussion ourselves, and I want to end with one more homework assignment for you. I intend...
Does that get smart?
It's a positive. I intend to ask you at the start of her comment. I'm sure we'll have moments to share our perspectives. I would invite each of you to articulate a point from the opposing viewpoint, whatever that might be, to demonstrate all of our willingness to really internalize the messages that we heard tonight. I think it's an important strategy in communication to be able to clearly articulate both sides of a position so that we can all have a clear understanding and clear respect for each other for knowing that we have invested in ourselves, not plotting how we're going to win this argument, but how we can engage and see each other as rational people who communicate and make solid decisions. So I leave you with that challenge. I will ask you that when it comes in a couple of weeks. With that, we will be adjourned.
Clearly